Why people hate you without any reason. There comes a moment in every person's life when they look around and ask themselves a painful question. Why do people resent me when I've done nothing to them? You stayed quiet. You minded your business. You worked on yourself. You tried to grow. You tried to become more disciplined, more focused, more aware. And somehow, the moment you started changing, the energy around you changed too. The smiles became forced. The support disappeared. The room got colder. People who once clapped for you started competing with you. Some secretly hoped you would fail. Others criticized you for becoming different. And the truth is, they were right. You did become different, because growth changes a human being. A person who begins to think bigger cannot remain small in the eyes of people committed to mediocrity. Understand this clearly. Most people are not disturbed by your failure. They are comforted by it. Your struggle makes them feel safe. Your confusion makes them feel equal. Your excuses make them feel normal. But the second you begin escaping the mental prison they accepted as life, you become a reminder of everything they abandoned inside themselves. That is why your ambition irritates people who surrendered. That is why your discipline offends people addicted to comfort. That is why your confidence bothers people filled with silent insecurity. You think people hate you because of something you said. No, sometimes people hate you because your presence exposes their weakness without you saying a single word. History has always worked this way. When Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before creating the light bulb, people mocked him relentlessly. They laughed at his obsession. They called him unrealistic. But eventually the same world illuminated itself with the vision they once criticized. When Henry Ford imagined a future where ordinary people could own automobiles, experts dismissed him as foolish. Bankers doubted him. Competitors attacked him. Why? Because vision always threatens those who profit from limitation. When Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination, the world could not yet see what he saw in his own mind. That is the burden of every visionary, to carry belief before evidence arrives. And weak minds will always attack what they do not have the courage to become. The world loves conformity because conformity is predictable. But the moment you begin walking to the rhythm of purpose instead of approval, you become dangerous. Not dangerous through violence, dangerous through independence. A person who no longer needs validation becomes impossible to control. That is why society rewards obedience early in life. Fit in. Be realistic. Don't dream too big. Stay in your lane. Because average minds are uncomfortable around limitless thinking. Napoleon Hill understood this deeply. He spent years studying the greatest achievers in human history and discovered a terrifying truth. Every great leader, every wealthy creator, every revolutionary thinker faced criticism, ridicule, jealousy, or betrayal before success arrived. Not after, before. Because people can tolerate your dream only when it becomes convenient to applaud it. At first, your vision makes them uncomfortable. Your growth forces them to question their own excuses. And most people would rather attack your transformation than confront their stagnation. You must stop taking this personally. The eagle does not lose sleep because crows scream beneath the clouds. You were not born to spend your life shrinking yourself to fit inside the comfort zones of insecure people. You were born to evolve, and evolution always separates. Look at nature itself. When a rocket launches into space, it shakes violently before leaving Earth's atmosphere. The higher it rises, the fewer things can follow it. Your life works the same way. Elevation requires separation. Some people cannot go where you are going because they are committed to who they have always been. And that realization hurts. Especially when it's family. Especially when it's friends. Especially when it's people you once loved deeply. But understand this. Not everyone connected to your history is connected to your destiny. Some people were assigned to your life only for a season. Some came to teach pain. Some came to reveal your strength. Some came to awaken your discernment. And some people hate you simply because your existence reminds them that they abandoned their own potential. That hatred has nothing to do with you. Nothing. You must learn the difference between constructive criticism and projected insecurity. Constructive criticism sharpens you. Projected insecurity tries to reduce you. One comes from wisdom. The other comes from fear. Never confuse the two. There are people who secretly panic when they see someone becoming disciplined, because discipline destroys excuses. The moment you wake up early, focus on your goals, train your body, control your emotions, protect your energy, build your vision. You become living proof that transformation is possible, and your existence becomes an indictment against their complacency. That is why some people pull away when you improve, not because you changed for the worse, but because your growth exposes the limitations they refuse to confront. Most people want inspiration without responsibility. They love motivational quotes. They love success stories. They love watching winners, until someone close to them actually starts winning. Then suddenly admiration becomes envy. Because distant greatness inspires people, but nearby greatness threatens them. A stranger succeeding feels entertaining. A friend succeeding feels comparative. And comparison awakens insecurity in the unprepared mind. This is why you must build your life on purpose, not popularity. If you depend on applause, criticism will destroy you. But if you are anchored in purpose, hatred becomes background noise. Abraham Lincoln was hated. Muhammad Ali was hated. Martin Luther King Jr. was hated. Every person who challenged ordinary thinking was hated before they were respected. Why? Because average people worship comfort more than truth. Truth disrupts. Truth demands change. Truth forces responsibility. And responsibility terrifies the undisciplined mind. You must stop expecting universal approval. It does not exist. Even the sun is hated by people who prefer darkness. The goal is not to be liked by everyone. The goal is to become so aligned with your purpose that opinions lose the power to distract you. Because distraction is the real weapon of the weak world. A distracted mind never builds greatness. And many people unconsciously try to distract those who are rising because misery seeks company. Never forget that. Some people do not want solutions. They want companions for their suffering. So when you begin escaping negativity, they feel abandoned by your evolution. But you cannot heal by staying loyal to dysfunction. You cannot become extraordinary while protecting the comfort of people committed to average thinking. At some point you must choose their approval or your destiny, and that choice will cost you something. It may cost relationships. It may cost comfort. It may cost temporary loneliness. But every level of greatness demands a different version of you. The caterpillar cannot become a butterfly while negotiating with the cocoon. Transformation requires isolation. There will be seasons where nobody understands your vision. Seasons where your discipline looks extreme. Seasons where your focus appears obsessive. Seasons where your silence confuses people. Stay focused anyway, because people laugh at seeds until they become forests. The irony of life is that many of the same people who criticize your ambition today will eventually ask you for advice tomorrow. But by then, you will understand something powerful. Their opinions were never the obstacle. Your fear of those opinions was, and once you conquer that fear, your life changes forever. Because freedom begins the moment external validation loses authority over your mind. That is real power. The ability to continue your mission even when misunderstood. The ability to believe in your future before anyone else sees it. The ability to stand alone without abandoning yourself. Most people cannot do this. That is why most people live ordinary lives. They trade destiny for acceptance. They silence their ideas to avoid criticism. They lower their standards to avoid rejection. They betray their potential for temporary belonging. But deep inside, they suffer because the soul knows when it has been abandoned. There is no greater pain than living beneath your potential just to make insecure people comfortable. Do not do that to yourself. You have a responsibility to become everything you were created to be. Not for ego, not for status, but because your gifts were never meant to die inside fear. Your vision matters. Your purpose matters. Your growth matters. And yes, your transformation will trigger people. Let it. The lion does not pause its hunt because sheep feel uncomfortable. You must become emotionally immune to small-minded energy. Not cruel, not arrogant, just unshakably focused. Because the world will test your commitment constantly. It will tempt you to doubt yourself, to seek approval, to explain your vision to people determined not to understand it. Stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. Protect your energy. Protect your focus. Protect your future. Every minute spent defending your worth is a minute stolen from building your destiny. Instead of arguing, elevate. Instead of reacting, evolve. Instead of shrinking, rise. And remember, people who are deeply fulfilled rarely spend time hating others. Healthy minds create. Broken minds criticize. Confident people build. Insecure people attack. Focused people evolve. Distracted people gossip. So when unnecessary hatred appears in your life, do not immediately assume something is wrong with you. Sometimes hatred is simply confirmation that you are refusing to stay average. Sometimes resistance is proof that you are growing beyond environments that once defined you. Sometimes isolation is preparation for elevation. Keep going anyway. One day your pain will become wisdom. Your discipline will become freedom. Your sacrifices will become power. And the same loneliness that once broke your heart will build the strength that changes your life forever. Because the people who change the world are rarely understood in the beginning, but they continue anyway. That is your assignment now. To continue anyway, to believe anyway, to rise anyway, even when misunderstood, even when doubted, even when hated for reasons that have nothing to do with you, because your destiny is too important to be controlled by insecure opinions. And the moment you finally understand that, you stop seeking permission to become powerful